Hey everyone, it's Wasim here from the channel Handsome Smiles. Welcome to another video. I hope you guys are doing well. Today's video is a first impressions. I'm going to be doing first impressions of 3 oud oils. So I was kindly sent these oils by the company AlHind Oud. The vendor, he messaged me on Instagram and said, "Oh, would you like to talk about our oils?" And usually get quite a few of these requests here and there, and I usually vet the vendor. I look at what they've sold, I look at their Etsy store and see the type of oud that they're selling, and I usually only agree to like receive samples of oils to do reviews or do first impressions if I feel like these oils are something I would like to have. And oud oils are expensive, so I'm always happy to receive oud oils from really genuine high quality artisan oud vendors. So this gentleman is called Anas Muhammad. He owns AlHind Oud. He's someone who's based out of Michigan, United States, and he distills oud and sandalwood in-house. He also has taken in recent years, from what I gather, custom distillations for private customers as well. I thought that was pretty cool. I've checked out his Etsy store. He's sold over 200 sales of oud and sandalwood, and he's got 5 stars. So, and I read a lot of the reviews, and people are genuinely very interested and very receptive of the oils that he sells. When he messaged me on Instagram saying if I would review some of his ouds or talk about his ouds, I clicked onto his profile and I saw that a lot of the followers that I respect in the oud game also followed his oud profile, his Instagram profile. So for me, he seems legit. So I thought, yeah, I'm happy to receive these oud oils. I love trying oud. They're too expensive sometimes for my budget, so happy to receive them and happy to do a video. So yeah, I believe I'll be the first person ever on YouTube to speak about this company, AlHind Oud. And in the past, I've been usually one of the first few people to talk about oud or other companies. You know, these independent vendors. Like I think I was the first one, I'm sure, that spoke about Mellifluence, Royal Bengal ouds, Ashworth oud. So a lot of these guys, I feel like Habs oud is another one. So many others, so many oud companies I've spoken about. Being the first one and try and introduce these vendors to you guys. Okay, let's start off. There's 3 oud oils here. He's actually sent me 6 oils, so I'm going to do a part 2 later on. So if you are going to be interested in seeing a part 2, please make sure to subscribe. Okay, let's start off with this one. Actually, there's a Sri Lankan one that I saw. So we'll start off with this one. This one is called Firdous 1, and it's a Sri Lankan oud, and it was distilled in 2023. So fairly new oil, and it's the Sri Lankan oil. And in my experience of Sri Lankan oils, they usually have a beautiful sort of sea breeze, sort of marine quality. So let's see what this one is going to be like. Firdous, the name Firdous is the name of a heaven. So in the Islamic religion or tradition, heaven is separated into like 7 levels. And the highest level and the best level is called Firdous, Jannatul Firdous, and that level of heaven is for the most pious and best. You know, that's the best of the best of heavens. So you have different levels, 7 heavens, and Firdous is the top one. So a lovely name for oud oil named after heaven. So let's see if this smells heavenly or not. Thankfully, I was able to open this quite easily. I always struggled with these oud vials, and even though I was sent these for free, I hope you guys understand, I always give genuine oud reviews. I'm never ever going to be a shill. He's not sent me a discount code or anything. It's just me talking about a new vendor here on Etsy. So let's check this one out using a plastic dipstick. I'm gonna just put a little bit on my finger here. Okay, this is Firdous 1, a Sri Lankan oud oil distilled in 2023. Okay, this opens up with a smooth, warm and bright woodiness. This reminds me a little bit of some oud oils from Borneo. It has this like a clean woodiness. There's a gentle sweetness as well. Yeah, very reminiscent of those clean Borneo ouds. A lovely sweetness. It's sort of like, imagine a bowl of water and someone has put in tobacco leaf. That's the sort of smell that I get. I get very gentle sort of woody tobacco coming through. Very, very pleasing. There's no barn in this at all. This is not a Hindi oud. It's very, very smooth. Now it's transforming a little bit and I'm getting a sort of a blue smell coming through. That's gorgeous. It's like a very smooth blue sort of feel, like an aquatic sort of feel. Very juicy, but not juicy in a fruity way. First impressions, I'm very impressed. I'm going to keep that on my skin and I'm going to revisit it after I've done the first impression of the other two oils. Okay, so that's Firdous one. Let's now talk about this one. This one is called Oud Shah Alam and it's a sinking Malay oud, so a Malaysian oud, and distilled in 2022. So that's how the oud oil looks. It's a beautiful ambery color. Okay, open up this one and we'll get a fresh toothpick. Okay, I believe I've got a decent amount here. Okay, Shah Alam 2022. It's got like this deep woodiness. Slightly powdery, very clean smelling. It's got no barn. It's not like other Malay ouds that I've tried, which have a deep sort of foresty greenness. Sometimes it has like an incensey note. Some Malaysian ouds I've tried, Incense Royale from Ansar Oud. It's nothing like that one. It has like a brightness to the scent as well. So imagine like baked sort of clay. That's the sort of smell it's coming through. Okay, I'm going to let it dry on my skin and we're going to revisit it. Let's talk about the final of the three. This one is called Lao Gold and it's a Laotian oud which was distilled in 2012. And this is how the oil looks like. It's like a bright yellowy hue. And in my experience, I think I've only tried a couple of Lao ouds and they usually are the most funkiest type of ouds. I believe I tried Immortal Oud, their Lao oil, Laotian oil, and it was like the smell of like a buffalo. It was so animalic and so leathery. So let's see what this one is going to be like. So this one is Lao Gold and it's number 2. So I'll put one here because I've got the Sri Lankan oud here. So I'll put this one here. Okay, it's not as barny or leathery that I thought it would be. Oh, okay. Speaking of that, it is coming through a little bit leathery, but it's got quite a cleanness to it. It's got like a metallic sort of smell. a gentle sort of sweetness as well. All three oils come across very, very clean smelling. He's definitely got a sort of signature style. Even though each of the fragrances are from a different region, they all have a very distinctive style in between them. They don't all smell like very, very different. You can see his stamp on each of the distillations. Okay, now this is becoming sweeter and has sort of a like a sweetness, like a mango sweetness, and it smells very similar to like some Thai oils that I've tried. Okay, let's revisit these, and we'll also go to his Etsy store and read about what he's mentioned, how the oud smells, see what his descriptions are saying. So we'll revisit Firdous 1, which was the Sri Lankan oud. Let's see how that's developed on my skin. Oh yeah, very beautiful. It's smelling like imagine a sandy beach on a palm with palm trees on an island. It's got that marine sort of vibe. It's very bright, blue skies. It smells a lot like the Borneo ouds that I've tried. You know, it's like tobacco in water with some vanilla. That's just vanillic tones, minus some of the mintiness that I pick up in Borneo. It's a very clean smelling oud. Okay, let's go to his Etsy store and see what he's mentioned regarding this oil. So for those one, and it's a Walapata oud, as is Sri Lankan ouds are known for. 1 gram of this is £281 and 2 grams of this is £547. So it's on the pricier side of oud, but oud of this level is at that price. So let's see what he's mentioned. Firdous is the name of the highest level of paradise. Yep. Here, Firdous 1 represents a high level Wada Pata oud oil that has blown my senses after I smelt it when it came out of pot. The material itself was immaculate, that one had to think twice before grinding and distilling. The question that comes to mind is, what if the distillation failed? What if the yields are lower than expected? I think the hardest part is to neglect your mind and go with your heart. It has been distilled for a few weeks at different temperatures in a steel pot, glass condenser and Clevenger setup. I'm not sure how oud is distilled, but this sounds incredibly incredibly impressive. I sort of imagine people distilling oud to be, you know how Walter White is, Heisenberg in Breaking Bad, with all those setups while he's creating crystal meth. But in this case, they're distilling oud. He goes on to say it smells like vanilla, honey, cream, pleasant hay, and light smoky incense in the beginning, which is by far the best opening I've ever experienced in a Ceylani oud. There are notes of creamy, silky, bitter guava in the drydown. The far drydown is incredible and absolutely spot on low heat burning of walla chips. The longevity, sillage, and projection are all outstanding. The beautiful thing about this oud is that it has an ethereal, rich, and raw vibe because it was distilled from wild incense material instead of shavings. So, super like high quality oud oil, and he's spot on about the vanilla that I mentioned. It smells to me like those Borneo, high grade Borneo oud oils that I've tried. They just smell very, very clean. They have like a slight vanillic sort of vibe. He's totally right about the honey. It's got that sort of sweetness. It's got this lovely sort of brightness. This is a oud oil I think is totally safe to wear to the office. It's a pleasing oud. There's no real barn in this. I think you can wear this comfortably on a date if you wish. But this is a nice, clean smelling oud. Okay, so that's Firdous 1. Let's revisit Oud Shah Alam, which was a sinking grade Malay oud oil distilled in 2012. So I've got it here. Okay, now I'm picking up a little bit of an incense note. There's some greenness coming through as well. but this smells very, very clean. It's a very clean smelling oud. It doesn't have a funk or anything like that. So if you're someone that enjoys like an animalic oud or an oud that punches a bit of funk, then this one is not it. It's quite a very clean smelling oud. Okay, let's read about Oud Shah Alam. So yeah, Oud Shah Alam is sinking grade, Selangor. I believe that's probably a jungle, Selangor. So Selangor is a Malaysian state in the west coast of the peninsula of Malaysia, encircling capital Kuala Lumpur. Okay, that region of Malaysia. Let's look at the pricing for this one. So 1 gram of this sells for £265. I think that's a fairly decent price for an oud oil of this quality because it's sinking grade. Now sinking grade means the wood had so much oud in it that if you put it in water, it sinks. That's from my understanding. So Oud Shah Alam is a co-distillation of 2 species of agarwood, Macrocarpa and Malacensis. I've probably butchered that. Species from the dense jungles near the border of Selangor and Pahang region. Total incense wood, no shavings or even thin chips, and all sinking grade and very resinous. So a lot of the times cheaper oud oils, if the wood is so expensive, a lot of the time oud vendors they'll sell this wood to people so then they can burn these wood chips, because the highest grade of enjoyment you can get from oud is actually burning the oud. The oud oil itself is more of a convenience. That's why oud oils, the Arabs call it dahnal oud, because the fat of the wood, because you derive the oil from the wood. And oils are usually just a convenience of getting the experience of oud. The actual truest maximum enjoyment you can get from oud is actually burning the chips, and this is the reason why the oud chips, the highest grade ones, are usually sold off. There, not many people, not many distillers are keen to distill the wood in order to get the oud oils, because the oils are always seen as inferior to the actual chip. And it's usually the Japanese market and the Chinese market which are very strong on the wood itself. They usually burn that for their guests, high profile sort of meetings that they have. And the oils are usually more sold off to the Arab market, from my understanding. So yeah, he's used, from what he's saying, the actual wood. He's not used shavings. So some cost cuttings usually is this oud oils at a cheaper price. They usually use shavings or smaller chips in order to derive the oil and sell off the bigger wood to the highest bidder. Okay, so moving on. What's the result? So the result is a complex oud that will only make your mind twist with transitions. If you get your hands on it, then you are one of the lucky ones to have a bottle of pure, rare oil that will never be distilled again with such materials. Very, very beautiful. I'm smelling. Very clean smelling. I offered this oil as a blind test to some experienced oud users, and this is what they have to say. So this is a review of someone that's received this oil, and they go on to say, received today, picking up major similarities to Agar Aura Blue Malay oil. It's a very potent oil, sent me to nose blind territory almost immediately. I'm leaning Malay as well, but there is a slight damp Sri Lankan vibe I am also getting, but not catching in the drydown I usually get with a Walapata oil. I did get a very similar feeling when I tested it to Firdous one. It had the similar sort of opening where it was quite bright and quite vanillic, now that he's mentioned it. Hitting the area exactly is tough. I am thinking it could be a co-distillation as well, more to come. So this person was Z Dubia that mentioned this. There's another review here. I've only sniffed it from the bottle and worn it on skin one time, but the oil was pretty surprising. It almost stung my nose a little bit. The top note was so intense. This seems like a really fine oud to me. Very interesting interplay between the top notes and the more mellowness, resinous heart that starts to emerge. A very nice, smooth yet tangy oud with a velvety underlying scent. Very nice spicy aspects as well, peppery almost. There's a hint of smooth mint that reminds me of a Thai oil Russian Adam distilled once, and I associate with a couple of Borneo ouds I've smelled. This is a really nice oil. I'd love to have a bottle of something like this. This was said by Mr. P. I definitely understand the borneo smell that he's mentioning. It has that sweet vanillic sort of vibe. There's a touch of greenness as well. He mentioned he gets a pepper and a tanginess. I didn't really pick up on that on my skin. But again, this Malay Oud Shah Alam and Firdous one both have a very, very clean sort of smell. They're both, to me, smell very similar to like a Sri Lankan oud, not a Sri Lankan oud, a Borneo oud. And the oil color of both of them are so similar. They're both a ambery color. Very, very similar. They almost look like exactly the same type of oud. Okay, moving on to this one, Lao Gold 2. So it's like a really big brightness that this smells like. It smells like sunshine. It's like a really hot day, and it's very, very sweet as well. It almost has like a candy sort of sweetness, super bright candy sort of sweetness with a touch of like a leather or suede in the background. Yeah, leather and suede in the black background with an intense sweetness, maybe like a sugary sort of sweetness, and it's super bright outside. Again, very, very clean smelling. It's a super clean smelling oud oil, and this one has a yellowy sunshine sort of color to it. Okay, let's talk about Lao Gold. Let's see what the distiller has made, his description of this one. So the first one, and one of the most successful oils in the Gold series, was the Lao Gold that became everyone's favorite as soon as it was launched in 2021. Not only because of how it smells, but also because of the price point at which it was offered. Okay, let's see what the price point on this one is. So for a 1 gram, this is £135, and for a 2.5 gram, it's 328. So I believe it's cheaper than the other two that we spoke about. Okay, moving on. I was fortunate enough to get my hands on the version 2 of the same region oil that was distilled in 2022, and it has been aging for 2 years. Methods used were the same: semi-copper steel systems, unsoaked on, and low temperature distillation. You must understand the geography before we get to the scent profile. Laos is the region surrounded by Vietnam, China, Myanmar, Cambodia, and Thailand. The materials used were closest to the Vietnam and China border, hence the smell depicts the same. So he goes on to say how it smells to him. Distilled using sinensis material, this oil possesses resinous, medicinal, floral, bittersweet, kinamic, followed by the golden honey vanillic sweetness that you can find in high-grade Vietnamese and Chinese oils. It opens with a sweet green and warm spicy notes, along with the vanilla that, when that fades away, the golden honey note emerges. I bet you surely fall in love with this profile, and it will be a proud to own a full bottle. So I got like a sugary sort of sweetness. He's mentioned like a vanillic and honey sort of vibe, and I totally understand how people could say that, because it smells so sweet. If you enjoy sweet oils, then I believe you will really enjoy this one. It's got that bright, like the name suggests, it's got like a gold sort of hue, gold sort of feeling, like sunshine. It's very yellow and very, very sweet. I almost get like a smoky leatheriness in the background. However, I'm not a massive fan of sweet oils, so if you enjoy really sweet oils, then this one definitely will be for you. If I was to rank these 3 of my favorite ones, let me just go back and smell. Firdous one, Oud Shah Alam. My favorite would be the Firdous one. The Sri Lankan oud would be my favorite of the 3 that I've just tried. Really like warm It's got this resinous vanillic sort of vibe. It's very bright. It's sweet smelling. It's vanillic, but it's not overly sweet. It's got this lovely, like, breezy sort of feeling in it. It smells a lot like borneo ouds, and I love borneo ouds, and borneo ouds are quite expensive, so I feel quite lucky to have this sample. So thank you very much, Anas. So Firdous one is going to be the first one that I really like. Next one is Oud Shah Alam, the Malaysian oil. This one was gorgeous as well. These two smell incredibly similar to me. Yeah, both smell very, very similar to me. And the last one is Lao Gold 2. I would put that in number 3. If I put these both to light, the oil itself looks exactly the same between Firdous 1 and Oud Shah Alam. I'm not sure if he sold me or sent me 2 of the same ouds with different labels. I don't think so, because they smell very, very alike. Very, very clean. Okay, final thoughts. These oud oils smell very, very clean. So very clean distillation. There's no off-putting notes. He's obviously used very high quality ingredients, and he's not used certain tactics that many people use, especially with Hindi oud, where they soak the oud for a very long time in it. Then I believe, from what I read online, the soaking process is which gives the barney quality. There's no barney qualities, no off-putting notes. This just smells like very high clean oils. Yeah, so there you have it. Those were my first impressions of AlHind oud. I've got another video coming up of these where I'll be talking about 3 of the other oils, so keep a lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to leave a link to their Etsy store in my description and comment section below. Guys, I'd love to read your comments. Please do leave them, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do. Until next time, my friends, see you later.